at 3 p.m. And we can welcome people. And as normal, as usual, Liz, will you let me know if we have people with their hand raised? You know, I may have to wait until the end, but maybe not. We'll see. So welcome, everybody. It's good to see people and to talk to you. It seems as though it's been a busy time, but I'm not too sure why, actually, when I think about it, because there's not a whole lot going on. So just an open meeting of law reminder again, as I always do, that this is an open meeting, and certainly people's comments and presence is welcomed. We really appreciate it and like to have people with us. So do any board members have any announcements, or anyone else, or Liz, or anybody that would like, anybody that likes to make would like to make an announcement?
I'm all set.
You're all set. Okay.
I'm all
Anita,
set.
do you have one, or any?
Yes, I'd like to thank Nicole for putting together the coffee and a movie this morning. It was well received by the people who were there. I think it's a really cool idea. Hopefully, if she runs it again, more people will show up. The Littleton coffee wagon, he came this morning with coffee, tea, hot chocolate, whatever, and muffins. And then the movie was Little Women, and it was very enjoyable. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Anita.
That's good. I'm so glad to hear that. I didn't quite make that. I knew I might have trouble at 9:30 getting there, but I have one announcement too. I just wanted to let our viewers know and ask them to share the word that the senior diner has, Gail Dalton in the senior diner has started up the Thursday afternoon lunches of soup and sandwiches. On occasion, it might be something a little different, but the donation's $3. It's a great way to get out and socialize. People, some people from exercise, the exercise group, go right from exercise into the diner for lunch, but there's plenty room for more people. So spread the word and encourage people to come down and have a soup and sandwich for $3. A nice meal out. In this day and age, you don't get anything for $3, not even a gallon of gas anymore. So take advantage of it. And Ann Lee's joined us. Welcome, Ann Lee. Do you have any announcements you'd like to make? I saw somebody taking food out of the food pantry at First Baptist Church the other day when I drove by. So
I just came from there, so there's some new food in there, and looks like it's warmer weather, so I'm putting all the canned goods and things out in there. Hopefully it won't get so that they'll freeze, but just little free food pantry at First Baptist Church.
great. That's being optimistic anyway, Ann Lee. Thank you. It is almost spring. So
It is.
it may get chilly, but it's not going to get that chilly.
Right.
Right.
While we're doing announcements, does Liz want to say something about the Bloodmobile?
I think she's got her hand up. Yep.
I read my mind, Mark.
Yep.
All right, March 29th, that's 2 weeks from tomorrow, the Mass General Hospital Bloodmobile will be here, and it'll be here 9:30 to 3 in the parking lot out back between us and the library. And no need to sign up in advance. You can walk right in. Thank you to the Reuben Hoare Library for helping us do the logistics on this, and full credit to Nicole for this idea. I think it was fabulous. You did a great job organizing this and got some great positive feedback on Facebook. Shared and shared and shared. So good job, Nicole.
Great.
Good
That's
job.
exciting. We'll have to get an article in the paper too about that. Or maybe you already have it planned, but I'm sure that we could get something out before the 29th maybe. So, yeah. Is it just Littleton residents though, Liz?
No, anyone.
Anyone can come. I thought that, but then I had an afterthought. So, okay. Any other announcements? Hearing none, we'll move on then to the minutes of February 14th. You all received a copy of them. So if, people do not have corrections or additions or et cetera, then we can entertain a motion to accept them.
So moved.
I
So
can't make the
seconded.
motion. Who made the motion? I can't make it.
Anita did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were saying that. I'm sorry. You did say so moved. Okay, and David seconded?
Yep,
Thank you. All right, roll call vote. Let's see, I'm gonna go down my list, just the way I have them written down. Mark,
Yes.
David,
yes,
Ann Lee,
Yes,
Anita,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
and Lorelei,
Yes.
and Marge, yes. We have a unanimous vote. Thank you all. So moving on, Dottie's here. Nancy had let me know that she was not going to be able to make the meeting, so can we bring Dottie up so that, it's time for the Friends report? Don't know what she'd like. Oh, David has his hand raised. I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry, I might have missed it. Do we have somebody taking the minutes?
Anita, and we don't have a secretary right now, but Anita and I have been doing the minutes.
Oh, okay,
And we are doing them by taking notes and then reviewing the tape if we need to. So
okay,
we're good.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But thank you being
Anytime
so,
you want to, anytime, David, you want to step in and take over, feel
yes,
free.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to address that. I think, come, in another couple of months. We may have a solution, we may not, but we'll see.
Okay,
But thank you for bringing that up.
okay.
Hi, Dottie.
Hi,
So,
I have one thing that Nancy said that, the funding letter, she finally got a hold of, Alpha Graphics and it's supposed to be going out this week. I don't know which day, but they got it last week and got it all arranged or whatever, so,
well, that's good.
Yeah.
I bet you guys are happy about that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's progress, right?
Right.
Sounds
So,
great.
that's the only thing I have for right now, unless you have questions. I mean, I did see another item on the, your agenda, but I was gonna
Yeah.
wait for Liz to bring it up.
Okay, well, we'll bring that up in a few minutes. We're gonna
Okay.
move right along in this meeting, so
All right.
hopefully. So, thank you, Dottie. Do we have any other Friends members with us now, Liz? No, okay. Just I did not want to, not recognize them if they were there, so. Okay, so under old business, I left on, and we left on the agenda, the senior center outreach effort. And I don't think there's any news there, really. We're still kind of at a standstill while we're back at the drawing board. Is that correct, Liz? Is that your take on everything?
Yeah, I think if people have been watching the select board meetings, they know about the potential of the property over here at 31 Shattuck Street, the tennis court area. I had a meeting earlier this afternoon with the Architect Group LLB to look at what a redesigned floor plan for that space could be. A little bit of a last minute meeting, but we're exploring that option of being adjacent to where we are now on the tennis court site.
That's exciting. I don't think we had talked about that before at our meeting. I don't think we knew that a month ago when we met. So that I think is exciting news. We'll see where that goes. So time will tell. Anybody else, any other board members have anything to do with the senior center project that they would? Yes, Mark.
Liz, is there a new, scheduled timeline that they're approaching with this new site or?
Yes, there's they did send out a timeline that's very strict due to town meeting coming up close. I'll see if I can get a hold of that, and I'm sure I have it in my email somewhere and send it along to share to the board.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
town meeting. Yes, David.
Yeah, let me just ask, is the piece of property there, is that slated strictly and only for the senior center, or is there any kind of competition going on for that space? Or is it being is it being purchased with the idea of just a senior center? I don't think I heard that before.
Yep, just the senior center.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Is Matthew on the call?
Don't see him today.
Okay.
He generally is. He might join us late, but I don't see that he's here right now. Okay. All right. Then we can move right into new business. Yeah, I told you this was going to be fast today. So far, so good. So, board members, the update. Susan, do you have any information for us?
You woke me up. No, sorry.
I know better than that.
No, I heard that my name. I'm like, oh, it's me. Just nothing new from Affordable Housing Trust, or Planning Board. They're both active and both things are happening in both groups, but nothing really to report on. The only thing I did want to mention from Middlesex Senior Services. I'm continually amazed at how many services that organization provides. I learn more and more every month, I think. And they were saying that they had been having trouble with getting employees to be caregivers and, household help and that kind of thing. That problem has not gone away, but it is still there, but it's lessening as a problem. And then they are looking for volunteers who would like to be friendly visitors to clients. And also they wanted us to mention that there are some new programs available for caregivers where neighbors or family members, not spouse, but neighbors or family members that can be caregivers can be paid.
Oh.
So if anyone out there is a caregiver or is a neighbor and feels they could help out another neighbor as a grocery shopping, light housekeeping, laundry, those kinds of things. If they contact Minuteman Senior Services, there is a possibility that those people might be able to be paid. So
Wow.
I mentioned it.
Great. Liz is nodding her head. So Liz, can they get the phone number for Minuteman through EHS?
Yes.
Or
I wish I had
Nicole's-
it in front of me right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't have it in front of me right now.
no, that's
But-
okay. But people could call EHS, the office,
Yeah.
and get more information.
Yeah, I think. Oh, Amy's got it.
Oh, look at that. Amy always has all the answers.
781-272-7177 is the main number for Minuteman Senior Services.
Great. Susan, you amaze me that you keep track of so many different groups and organizations in town. You really do.
I amaze myself sometimes.
Well, it is. It's quite amazing, I think, because I'm familiar. Sometimes Middlesex has done some interesting reports and research and things of that nature too.
And the one other thing that not to consider today, but maybe in the future, we could discuss perhaps having them do a presentation at one of our board meetings of their services. And I know everybody saw the letter that told what their numbers were in Littleton, but they do have several programs that they will come and do presentations.
Wow, that sounds like a great idea. Maybe we should get a list of them and see what might be appropriate as,
Right.
I mean, oh, Liz got her hand up.
In 2 weeks on March 25th, they're sending their registered dietitian here to do a program called Spice Up Your Life. That's on, I think, a Friday morning at 11. So that's one program that they offer that we are taking advantage of, and that should be really good. What spices you can add to your diet without increasing your salt intake, things like that.
I did see that in the broadcaster. I do recall that. You're right. Yeah. Well, that's great. Okay. So anything else, Susan?
No,
AHT has a meeting. Is it tonight, tomorrow night?
well, that's a good question. In my calendar, I have it as next Tuesday, but on this piece of paper with a note to myself, I have it tomorrow night. So I think I better figure out when it is. I
Well, I'm
think-
not sure. You know, I also saw where there's another meeting and it was the TDR. I can't remember what that stands for now, but Harvey, I think, isn't he on that, in that group?
Yes.
And
Yes,
there's
Harvey's in both groups. He's planning board and AHT.
the TDR has to do with the orchard.
No,
Right.
No,
No? What was it? What is it, Mark?
it's transfer of development rights.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I couldn't remember what it stood for. But they have a meeting tomorrow night at 6:00, and I was trying to figure out how Harvey was going to do both.
that's why I think the AHT meeting is next Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
I have it for next Tuesday.
Oh, thank you, Nicole, to the
But
rest.
Thank you, Nicole.
All right. That answers that question anyway, and clarifies that. I did notice the other meeting on the, on the meetings on the calendar. So, great. Okay. Do we have anything else under board member update on that agenda item? If not, we're going to move on. And I had put guests down because we thought we might have a guest from one of the staff of the broadcaster, Liz, correct? She deals with the advertising that is in the broadcaster. And she was going to come and share some information with us, but she wasn't sure she could make today. So she might come next month. And so we don't have a guest. And we can cross that right off from our agenda and move on to item C on the agenda, and that is to review COA board responsibilities. And the reason that is there is that we have known for quite a while that a lot of people in town mix up the COA board and the Friends, and they don't understand the difference between the two groups. And so I thought maybe it would be appropriate for us as a board, I'll kick it off and just summarize my perception of what our duties are and what the COA is and why we exist. And I thought it would be a good opportunity for our viewers to, if they don't know, to learn the difference between the two groups, and also to help spread the word to other people if they come across somebody that, has things confused a little. And I understand why it's confusing. I'm not criticizing anyone. It is sometimes difficult to understand. But the COA board, the Council on Aging board, which is what we are, this group is, has a basic and main responsibility as a town-appointed group of people is to support and work with the Director of Elder and Human Services to help accomplish missions and goals and things that we can help with. And basically, that's it. That can cover a huge area, when you're talking about support. But essentially, that's our job. And that's why we exist. And it's to be out there and to communicate with you people and to share information, et cetera, et cetera. Other board members you may have information you want to share in that regard. And then just let me say that the Friends of the COA, they exist for the purpose of raising money to support COA events and activities and, for seniors. And that's their job. So the two groups are important groups in this town and in every town in the Commonwealth, but each group has a very different mission and objective and reason for being in existence. So add to it or correct me, enlighten other people if I've missed something, folks. But I just thought a lot about it because I know people get it confused and they don't understand the difference between the two groups and who does what. So seems as though it was worth taking a few minutes to mention.
I had a couple of comments I'd like to make, Marge.
Sure.
One, as you said, the COA board is a town board appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
Yep.
And the Friends of the COA are a nonprofit organization.
Correct.
They are not a town board. And they don't fall under the guidelines of the town rules and regulations.
Correct.
They have their own. The other thing I think is important for all of us board members from time to time is to go back to your manual and read the code of conduct and the code of ethics that are in your book. And so when you're out there in the public and someone comes up to you and speaks to you about something that's going on at the COA EHS, we can answer them properly and give them as much information that we can in supporting the programs that we have and our director, and also letting people know that if we don't have the answer, we will go back, we will find the answer and get back to the people. But it's very important that our job is to be positive and respectful of our director and the members of the office of COA EHS.
Well said. Thank you, Anita. That was a great contribution. So, anyone else have any thoughts on that? It's confusing, but pretty simple when you think about it. But as a nonprofit, the Friends have to abide by the state laws which govern how a nonprofit operates, which I'm not familiar with because I'm not involved in it. But I do know that that's the structure that they have to follow. So, all right. Any other comments regarding that? Thank you for bearing with me. I just got this in my head that I thought, well, how come we don't talk about this at all, ever? It might be helpful to help clear some of the confusion in people's minds. Okay, we'll move on then to D. Discussion of procedures to be used when requesting funds from the Friends of the Littleton COA. Now, let me keep, yes.
We've had a couple people come into the waiting room. We have Andy, Dottie, and Susan in there now.
Great. Dottie, Andy, and Susan. Great, that's good. So, this item is on the agenda because we attended, as you all remember, let me backtrack a little bit. It must be 2 to 3 months ago now. At one of our board meetings, it was agreed that Anita, myself, Gary Wilson, and Marilyn Fidel were going to be 4 board members that tried to attend the Friends meetings because we were trying to promote working together and et cetera. And Gary had made some suggestions. He's unfortunately tied up at work today and can't be here. But so at the last Friends meeting a week ago, last week, Wednesday, Anita and Marilyn and I were present, as well as Amy, Nicole, and Liz. And they generally, Liz and Nicole and Amy, all are usually present at the Friends meetings. And the meeting was concerning, I would say. It was not the best. It was a little negative towards, I felt, towards our director. And I know that we came away from that meeting upset, Anita and I did. And then Anita and I sat down with Nancy and Dottie, the president and the vice president, and to talk about that meeting, correct, Anita?
Yes,
The next day.
Yes.
And as a result of our discussions anyway, you know, we thought about, I've been thinking a lot about, okay, where did we get into? And we always spend a lot of time, it seems, that the staff, our EHS staff, have to spend an inordinate amount of time just requesting funds to help people, which is okay. I mean, the Friends need to have the request brought to them. Certainly, I'm not you know, but I began to think there must be a better way of managing things. The way this been done this way forever, ever since I've been involved. And Dottie has her hands up, and I see you, Dottie. Well, you certainly are going to have time to speak, so bear with me. But I just thought in my head, okay, there must be a better way of organizing things, maybe to make things a little bit, things that are pretty much routine. It seems to me that from my observations over the years that I've attended their meetings. And so I started asking some questions around and discovered that, yes, there are, ways that other groups, other friends and other COA boards work together. And so why reinvent the wheel? Maybe we could make things better. And that's why this item of procedures to be used when requesting funds from them is on the agenda. And I know we have David and Mark who have a lot of experience with the Friends of the Library, how things are done and set up. And so I thought, why not have a discussion about it? And Anita thought it was a good idea, and Liz did too when we were doing the agenda. So here we are. And I will stop talking now. So,
I would like
okay.
I would like to make a comment about, I've been attending the Friends meetings for the last couple of years since I've been on doing the craft class, and I've gone to several meetings, and I've listened to the Friends be supportive of seniors and wanting to help seniors. But my problem with it is when a request for services for a senior goes before the Friends, such as last week, there was a need of a senior to go to a podiatrist. And all of the information was presented to them in the form of a document by Amy. And to me, that is a medical situation. That is a senior. It should have simply been, okay, we'll write a check. There should not have had to be any kind of a discussion of any kind. It's just in finding a way that we can cross over with the Friends so that either there's a pocket of money given to Liz that says this money is going into a bucket, and if you need a request for $35 for this or $40 for a prescription or something, that you can take it out of that fund at the end of the month, give some kind of a report back to the Friends. I don't know the proper way, but I'll tell you, it's as if every time they go, Liz or Amy, they're begging. And a comment, I'm sorry, Liz, that I have to say this, but a comment that she made, which I can see why she made it. I just don't want to go and ask the Friends anymore because I always feel like I have to beg for everything I want. And I'm very uncomfortable doing that. And our director shouldn't have to feel that way. Amy and Nicole should not feel that way. We have our board that's working very hard with seniors and elders, and we have the Friends of the COA working very hard for funds. But for us to be able to use those funds, it's a constant begging situation. I've seen it over and over at the board meetings I've attended. And this last one, it just upset me so bad that Liz was treated the way she was. There's no need for her to have been treated that way. And my feeling at the end of the meeting was it needs to stop. And if the only way it can stop is for us to write some kind of an agreement, then that's what we need to do. No, I'll be quiet.
Okay. Well, we really haven't gotten into a discussion yet, and I see Andy and Dottie both have their hands raised. So does any other board member have a question or a comment right now at this point? Yes, Susan.
It seems to me, and despite whatever took place in one particular meeting, it seems to me that we do need if there hasn't already been one, and obviously there hasn't been, a procedure for requesting funds. It shouldn't to be each and every single individual little thing has to be, well, requested, that Liz and staff can only go once a month to the Friends meeting to put in a request for funds. That seems crazy. I really totally agree that we should have some kind of a procedure that is understood by both sides or both groups. I didn't mean sides like we were taking sides. I mean both groups.
Right. It just seems to me, I've been attending the meetings for a long time, and the way it's been done has been done this way for a long time now, ever since I've been involved in attending. I did, quite frankly, kind of start to do some research and discovered that there are other COA boards that have a MOU, a memorandum of understanding, with their friends groups. And I'm trying to get copies of those to perhaps, consider looking at things. I mean, and I did get one call, and why not? They said this particular town set up a system where, an email goes to the president and the vice president, or the president and the treasurer or something, when a request from the COA, whoever, or the elder services, whatever the department's called in a town, when they need $35, they need to have a system that is smooth and efficient, and not have to wait for a monthly meeting to find out and get information. I see Marilyn has just joined us. So anyway, that's a thought. And that was what prompted the discussion here. I wanted the board to toss this around. Maybe if we come to an agreement that we need to have something written, that would be a step in the right direction. Anyway, so I'm anxious to hear from board members as to whether or not you feel it's worth putting the energy into trying to collaborate with Liz and, a couple of board members, as to see what might be some ideas to improve. And obviously to work with, once we get something, then to work with the friends and let them participate in the development of it too. So it's just a thought, but it was distressing, to say the least. That meeting was very insulting to Liz, I thought, and distressing. And I've seen it happen. It's not just once. This happens a lot. I think, Anita, you've been to many meetings with me. In the past, you were there just from being part of doing the craft group.
I just think last week's meeting for me was the last straw. I felt so bad for Liz that she had to defend herself 3 different times when the information had already been sent out to the proper people, and for her to have to pull everything up on her phone and defend herself for what she had done and had done at the proper time, I think made her feel embarrassed in front of the Friends board that she wasn't doing her job. And it's far from what the situation is. She had responded in every case as soon as she had the information. And I was very upset.
Yes, Liz.
Hi.
Hi.
I do just want to lay it out there that this is an incredibly uncomfortable conversation. And I definitely know that growth comes from the uncomfortableness of these hard, difficult conversations. So I did think it might be helpful if I lay out right now that how the procedure is currently working and a potential idea. So right now, when we have a request from the Friends board, myself, Amy, or Nicole writes on letterhead a formal request for the funds. If Amy has a request for an outreach client, such as the last case, she wrote down in an anonymous fashion, the person's total income after expenses to justify the need for the $35 request. So we do a lot of the legwork and the vetting behind the scenes before it gets to the friends. And I think it would save a lot of time if we didn't have to debate back and forth about things that have already been vetted. But I absolutely do understand the need to have the accountability for each request and have a discussion about it. And I definitely understand that the friends need to protect their finances and thoroughly vet each request. But perhaps there's a better way to do it, like some of these other COAs where they have the MOU or memorandum of agreement or understanding, where there's a certain amount set for each category, like lifelong learning or resident expenses, things like that, where there's money set aside and we provide accounting for how we'd like to expend those funds for the residents. That's my 2 cents on that.
And you would carry on a spreadsheet that you could provide back to the friends at the end of the month on how that money was spent out, correct?
Correct. If that's the avenue that we think might work, we would definitely provide invoices, receipts, documentation, still even do the formal request letters, put all of that information together still to have that as backup documentation. But it might save us some of the debate time.
Mark, you got your hand up, or is that a finger up, or what?
No. So I have a couple comments. One, I'll tell you how the library does some of this, right? So the library with their friends group, we have a couple accounts set up that are managed by the town. They are town accounts. The friends of the library put money into those accounts, and then the library director and trustees can spend money out of those accounts. There's one for museum passes. There's another one for general things. And we basically agree in advance what can and can't be spent out of those funds, right? And then the friends, the director for any large purchases goes and asks the friends for permission before they spend anything. And then the trustees also sign off and make sure. I would also like to say that for $35, the town has spent more money on the meetings than the $35, right? Just the amount of time to put the paperwork together is more than $35, let alone we're now in at least 2 meetings. It's probably taken at least an hour's worth of staff time. It's well over $35. It's ridiculous that you have to do this for these small sums, right? I can understand there needs to be some accountability back, right? Maybe there's an, oh, and I don't think we actually have a formal MOU with the friends, right? If they decide not to, they give us money, they put money into the town account. When the town account gets low, we ask for another check. If they don't like the procedure, they won't give us another check, right? So we don't have a formal MOU. It would be very easy to set up an agreement with, it doesn't even have to be a formal agreement that, you know, the friends give Liz, the EHS, a chunk of money, and Liz agrees that I won't spend more than X at a time, and I'll give you a full reporting afterwards of how we spent it, right? And won't, you know, and you can do it by different types of accounts and things like this. But to sit here and argue over $35 for any period of time is ridiculous.
Okay,
Thank you, Mark.
yes, thank you. Anyone else? David, did you have your hand up?
No,
No.
but I will say I'm upset about the whole thing, that there's any kind of acrimony where there should be absolutely none. That bothers me a lot. I'm not a witness to it. Can't say that, you know, I haven't heard it, but I've heard this before, and this is not needed. So let's solve it. Some people have their hands up and they should have a chance to speak.
Right, I'm good, yep. Dottie and Andy, I haven't ignored them totally. they're waiting. So, and it's fine unless another board member has something they want to say before I open it up to Andy and Dottie. Okay, thank you. Dottie, you want to go first?
Yes, that would be
Okay.
nice.
Since you're go ahead.
I have just one suggestion is everything should be come through in a letter, like you say, and we can vote on it ahead of time so that there won't be any discussion like it was that last Wednesday. Because I was upset with that too. It was just too much back and forth.
Right.
And yeah.
There
And
must be a more efficient way to handle it. That's what I think.
I
And
agree.
I'm thinking if we put our heads together, the
Right.
board and, yeah, so we can accomplish this. Maybe we can make things better and smoother, you know? So, thank you, Dottie. Anything else you want to add?
No, let Andy speak.
Okay. Andy, you're on.
Okay, thank you. It sounds like this is much more complicated than I thought it should be, but all I need to write a check is the letter. And then our board will vote on the amount funded and so forth. So basically all I need for my accounting is the letter to justify the check I write. And I think what Dottie said is true, that if we got an email or the letter sent to us first, we could discuss it. And, you know, like last week's letter for the $35 was the first time I heard that request made. So we had to describe what was used for and approve it by vote. So if we could do that before the meeting, it'd be a lot smoother, we think. So
Thank you.
yeah. So I didn't take that as begging, so forth. We just need to justify what we're spending. So all I need is the description, and I can write a check if the board approves. And make it smoother. If we got the letter before the meeting, we could be all approved.
Right, and it must be a way to be able to, I mean, some of these things come up and, you know, they can't wait a month to find out if they're going to be able to help this person. So it just seems as though there must be a more efficient way, you're right, to do it.
How do you work it with the Ed Sweeney's fund? I thought that was for funds for the town, like for instance, like the $35. There might be a smoother way.
Liz?
Yep. So the donation from Ed Sweeney's is specified for families, and that goes into a special outreach account for people under 60 that Amy uses for the human services aspect of her position.
Okay,
so that's just a gift fund that we have specified for families and under 60 outreach.
That was the request of Ed Sweeney's, right?
Yeah, I didn't know it was under 60. That's why, sorry.
Oh.
So I have a question to the Friends. Why can't Liz have a comparable account for those over 60 that the Friends fund in advance? I mean, Ed doesn't care. Ed trusts Liz and her crew to do the right thing. Why can't the Friends of the COA do something similar? Is obviously you need the accounting back, but to think that Liz has to come to you for every little check is a lot of work on your board for one, and your treasurer, right? The Friends the Friends of the Library write a check, right? And then Liz then the library and the directors write little checks from there rather than having to come to you for every little one. They still have the full accounting, right? Liz can still send you all the paperwork that says what we spent the money on, but you don't have to be involved in every little decision. Would be the case that she would come to you for the $35 and you would say no?
Was that a question?
Yes.
Repeat that.
There are several questions there. What's the reason that you need to write a check for every one of these small requests, and why do you have to approve every small request in advance?
That's in the bylaws that we take requests and we vote on whether we approve it or not approve, and then I write a check and say it's been working fine in the past. We never typically refuse a valid request.
It's in your bylaws, so you have to vote on every dollar you spend?
No, we have to count for every check we write. And I think having a slush fund makes it more complicated for us.
I think it makes it less complicated for you, and it makes your, so one of the things that the Friends of the Library get out of having the account with the town is they get free accounting because the town can run a book, run reports on all of the money they spent, and B, they get a lot more exposure from the town, right? Because now Liz can go, if the money's in a town account, she could run a report and say, this is how much the Friends of the COA contributed to this, that, or the other thing, right? By setting up different accounts for all of those. It makes your life simpler because you don't have to vote on every check in advance and write every check in advance. And you get better accounting and better visibility.
Yeah, I can't comment on that because I'll have to talk to Tony, or, we'd have to run it through Tony so see what the rules are. But I don't have a problem with that. The only thing I see is that it's the accounting is to be late. So, but yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to follow up on Mark. I guess I've been to enough Friends meetings and seen all the deliberation on all the different requests that have been made in the past to Liz. In fact, there was even a request for postage for stamps that she needed, and the request was denied. And to me, it's ridiculous. And I know that a Friends board member went out and bought the stamps because she felt bad. But my big deal is, Andy, if the Friends wrote a check to Liz for $1,000 to put into an account, your board would approve that $1,000 and it would go into that town account. And Liz would spend the 35, 25, 10, whatever. And at the end of the month, you would get an accounting of how she spent that. You would still get the same information as you get on every little tiny purchase that Liz has to go to you for, or Amy has to go to you for. And Mark is right. It's spending so much time on everybody's plate, and having this discussion, having a discussion because the way the meeting was so upsetting, it's just so much time is wasted on something so simple.
Yeah. I don't think we waste much time. There's usually 1 or 2 requests per month if we get that much. So I don't know that we spend that much time discussing it. It's just, like I said, it sounds like they're making it more complicated than it really is. But anyhow, I can't, I'm not familiar with all the rules and so forth, so I really can't comment on your proposal. I don't see anything wrong with it. The only thing I could see is that if we gave $1,000 to Liz, at the end of the month, she may not have spent $1,000. So we'd only have accounting for a part of that $1,000. I'm not sure how that would fly. So I guess Tony would have to answer that.
Yeah.
Are you concerned that Liz might spend the money on somebody under 60?
No, I'm not concerned about any of that. It's just that we have to, we trust each other as far as that goes.
Well, that would, if we had an MOU, that could be, certainly clarified and spelled out in an MOU that the money would be, is designated to be, to benefit 60 and older people, aged 60 and older people. So, that would be in writing then, it would be clearer. So.
Yeah.
And
I guess-
Andy, well, you mentioned your bylaws, that it's in the bylaws that you have to do it that way. I have your bylaws of 2019 right in front of me. And I don't see where there's a procedure that it has to be done. Yes, the treasurer's duties and procedures are there, but I don't see anything about procedure about how requests are, managed in there. Do I have the right copy, the right bylaws?
Yeah. I don't think it's in there in great detail. I just need to justify how I spend it. That's all.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't. Susan joined us too. Is that right? I think Marilyn. We have Marilyn. Susan, is that Susan Hogg?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. She doesn't have her hand raised, but Dottie, you still have your hand raised. Do you want to say something else? Oh, she took it down.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I agree with Andy. We need to get together and settle this once and for all about the procedures.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. It should be easy to ask us for money, not the roundabout way, questioning everything, so. Yeah,
Okay,
we'll have to
so-
talk as a board. We might have to have a special meeting
well,
between.
that's okay. So what would happen if we started it, kicked it off by putting together a draft of a memorandum of understanding between the COA and board and their friends? And then you people certainly need to be involved and look at it, and we can, tweak it and whatever. Would that be
That sounds like a
a
good
good
idea.
plan? A good plan?
Let's
Yes,
start it out. Mhm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
we'll make it an easier meeting, first of all.
Well, it could be, but we could have a beginning draft of something, and then we could have a meeting over it, yes, to
Right.
tweak things. I agree. So, I mean, I think it's something that we can work out, and it would save everybody time.
Exactly.
So, yes, and it would be much more efficient. So,
So
All right.
I'd like to add that the libraries, the Friends of the Library has several accounts with the town. So
Uh-huh.
that you can do that for the purposes of like, if, so we have one basically for general expenses and one for museum passes, but you could have one for outreach versus, the meals program versus whatever. And you could set all of these up. It's no problem to the town. And then the Friends of the COA can decide how much money they want to put into each of these accounts, right? On a monthly, annual, whatever basis. Basically when the director notices that the Friends of the Library accounts are being spent down, they ask for another check, right? And that's the way it works. It's a lot better for the Friends of the Library. Now we can actually run reports and tell the town how much the Friends are donating to the town, right? Whereas before it's much harder to do, right? And in reality, I don't think our Friends of the Library now write any checks themselves to benefit the library. Everything comes through a town account. So.
Andy, do you have your hand up again?
Well, no, I was just going to reflect that what Mark just described is the process we use for the broadcaster mailing funding. I gave, upon a request from Liz, we'd give her a check for X amount of dollars. And I think she'd submit that to the town, and she uses that accordingly as the broadcasts are mailed out. And when she runs low, she makes another request. So I think you just described a process that we already use, and that works fine.
Okay. Thank you, Andy.
Yep.
Okay, so board, it sounds like we can come to a conclusion. I don't think we need to take a formal vote on it, or do we? Who's a good, David, well, he'll tell me if I have to. But I'm thinking that we're in agreement that we should work on trying to put together a draft of a memorandum of understanding.
Yeah.
Are we, board, are we all in agreement with that?
Yeah,
Do I need a formal vote? Somebody tell me that. I
I
don't
don't-
think so either. No, that's a-
I don't
No.
think, excuse me, I don't think it should be just as far as money goes. I think it also has to have something to do with the way Liz is being treated. That needs to be a part of it as well.
Okay, well, we can, I'm not,
I think
We
that's
can
two
work
separate
on it.
matters, don't you think?
I think procedures when requesting funding is, yeah. Well, let's start with that. Let's start and see if we can't get some procedures refined and just, described that we can all agree to and work from that or something. And in the meantime, we'll see if I can find examples. Why reinvent the wheel? I'm sure. I know I have the one example of a MOU, a COA MOU with friends in another town, and I bet there's others out there. And so we can, we can take from other people's work, and we'll get that going. Why don't we do that? Get that process in motion and see what we can come up with. Liz was going to reach out to the other directors, I think. Can you do that, Liz, and reach out? Yes, Mark.
Well, I have one question, and Susan also has her hand up.
Oh, I
But,
didn't see that.
Is it possible that we can get the minutes from the Friends meetings? I don't know that I can attend the Friends of the COA meetings, but I'd like to see their minutes to know what was being discussed.
Well, that's a good
How can
question.
how can we get a hold of those?
I don't know, ma'am. Is Dottie still there? I never see the minutes. We never see the agendas even. They keep
So-
those quite
Well-
private.
Okay, from now on, the agenda is going to be sent out before to everybody or to Liz, and that way she can send it to everybody on the board. And the minutes are supposed to be sent to Sue Raymond after our board meeting, but not before. It would be after our board meeting.
Oh, do you get the minutes, Liz?
I don't think so. Is she printing them for you?
Or maybe I transitioned over to Susan Hogan. I probably wasn't mentioned that she should send I thought Nancy was doing it. But anyway, Susan should send the minutes after our meeting via email to Sue Raymond. That way she can distribute them or wherever they go to from there.
Oh, I've never seen a copy of them ever.
You're
Ever,
kidding. No, I used to
No.
send them.
never seen them.
Never. In how many years? So we have to fix that little problem, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, thank you, Dottie. Go ahead.
I was not aware that they had to go to Sue Raymond, and I apologize.
Well, you couldn't be aware, Susan, if you're brand new, so,
Right.
and obviously, none of us have seen them, so anyway, we'll go from there. Things
Also,
happen. We're not here to be finding fault. We're just here to be making things better, so,
yes, I understand.
yeah.
And I apologize to Liz if she felt the way she was being attacked at the last meeting. I'm new and it's still very different to me. But I'd also like to bring up one other issue. It's an
Certainly.
old issue. It's a sore issue that we have. It's the thrift shop. We feel that we are begging to reopen the thrift shop. So we know how you feel when you feel you have to beg for money from us. So if we can get the thrift shop opening sooner rather than later, we may be able to do a little bit better with giving you guys money.
Well,
The two items are, I hate to say this, but one doesn't impact the other. We have no control, number one. We don't have any control over the thrift shop. It's totally in the select board's hand. And the whole process that has to occur before they make a decision is totally in their hands. We have no control over that, Susan. Unfortunately, it's not something that we have any control over. Yes, David?
Yeah, let me just ask right here. We got word the other day, or rather I got word. Keep in mind, I'm not on the board of trustees for the library anymore, but I heard through the grapevine that Park and Rec was moving into the library in some manner. Is that true, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So that means that Park and Rec, I would guess, is moving out from their space.
I thought they were moving
Sound
into the
about
old
right?
library.
Yes,
So-
they are.
Yeah. So,
They're moving
So-
into the old
yeah.
library. They're moving out of Park and Rec into the old library.
Yes, David, they are. But the plan is that the
Yes,
select
so,
board have,
so what happens to the room where Park and Rec is?
the
that,
COA is,
oh, go
it's going
ahead.
to be the temporary home of Liz
David,
until
the
the new senior
select,
center is built.
the select board and the administration have already said the plan, the way they're doing it is that Park and Rec is going to move into the Reuben Hoare vacated space, some of it. And then after that, EHS is supposed to be looking at that space to see if there is something, that would work for us until we get our senior center. And that's already been, the select board and the town administration have already organized themselves as to how they're going to handle the moving of people in an orderly fashion. That's the plan. So to answer that question, you're right. I mean, there is going to be vacated space there, and the plan is for EHS to look at that next. The select board has said, once they're done moving the departments in town that need more space, then they're going to look to see if they have space for the thrift shop. So we have no control over that. That's what they've said. Am I wrong in that, Liz? Do I have that accurately?
You're
No? Yeah, I thought I had it down. And that's the frustrating thing for the Friends. I agree. It's extremely frustrating because they would like to move into a space tomorrow. You know,
It
but
just seems like there's something wrong here. Something just smells. Something smells bad about this whole thing.
well, I don't know about that.
I shouldn't be saying like, no, something wrong. There's a lot more space in that building now than there was when the Friends had the thrift shop in there. There's way a lot more space now.
Right.
I don't understand why there can't be a little spot for the thrift shop. Don't understand.
Liz?
Liz has her hand up.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll just describe what's happening. So Ed Mullen, the building commissioner, and the land use department is moving in to the bottom floor, and they're currently working on renovating that space. Park and Rec is working on moving on to the second and third floor, and they're currently renovating that space, which involves repairing carpet and painting the walls, getting it spruced up again. And then once the space is vacated downstairs, we're going to see if we can use additional space downstairs, in which case the thrift shop may be able to use the Cooper room in the old library or return to the spot where they were in Amy's current office. But all of the other pieces need to move, the other departments and people need to move before those spaces are opened up. Like temporarily, John Borowski, who's on the first floor of the old library, is moving over here with us while they do the renovations. So it's a whole lot of moving pieces all at once. That's just kind of a logistical nightmare, but it's happening. It's moving forward.
And all of that takes time as well.
Yeah.
Marilyn made it. Welcome, Marilyn, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
Verizon finally left.
Good. Okay. I know it's frustrating. Everyone's frustrated about something, it seems, and it's understandable. And I agree with you, David. It's very slow process. And I understand the Friends' frustration. It's just not happening as fast as they would like. So when Susan says they feel like they're begging, I can understand that. But we don't even have a concrete answer as to what's going to happen. Yes, Marilyn.
Well, even the painting over in the library, in the old library, it's the volunteer tax write-off people that are painting the area to start with. And part of it is done, part of it isn't. And so, you get volunteers that are only going to do a couple of hours a week. It's going to take a long time. But I know they have finished the floor, they've finished painting where the building department is going in. And tomorrow they're starting to paint the top floor where Park and Rec is going to go. But it's being done in the least expensive way. And that's having the senior tax write-off people doing the work, which this is wonderful. It's great. It's good for them. It's good for the town. But it takes a little longer. I just want you to know that things are being worked on. It's not sitting idle.
Okay. Liz has her hand up. Thanks, Marilyn.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just saying that there's also some electrical work that needs to be done, things that we have to, get contractors for. That's bigger than just finding a senior tax worker who can do the hours. So the pieces are moving, just slow.
Okay. Mark?
There's also all of the shelves and things that were left behind have to go through a town state process before we can get rid of them. That's a multi-month process. So they're trying to figure out how before they can't just throw the things away. They have to auction them off or offer them to everyone else. So it's been going on. Hopefully that process ends soon. But there's still a lot of old stuff in the library we're trying to get rid of, basically. And we legally can't get rid of it yet. So there's a lot of moving parts that people may or may not be aware of that have to happen.
And I also thought I heard the chairman of the select board say that there was going to be no funding for any of the move until after July 1. So that in itself is going to take some time.
Right.
And logistically think, if people are moving from one area to another, that all takes time. And if they're going to put cubicles up, they've got to be moved in, and they can't be moved in till the other stuff is auctioned and gotten rid of or whatever. There's a lot of time. I mean, it's not a quick turnover, unfortunately.
It's a process, that's for sure. Slow process, but it is being worked on.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak to this? I think we will try to put together a beginning draft. I think maybe Anita and Liz and I could do that. Liz, I don't know the information, we definitely have to have Liz involved in this because she knows the process and the different what they ask for. I'm not even up on that. That's her job, and Amy, and they know that. So why don't we begin this process and try to kick it off and then come back next month and catch everybody up to date. How's that sound? Sounds like a plan. I just wanted to make sure, I wanted to bring it to the board because we have a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge on our board. We have a great board, quite frankly, I think. And, we have Mark to pick his brain. Now, granted, the COA board is not the same as the trustees. We have different functions, but still, there's the Friends of the Library have been a very successful group and things seem to be working smoothly and we can learn from them. And so it just made sense to me to have a board discussion about it.
And we also have a very dedicated, experienced, good group of people in the office. Those 4 ladies are doing a fantastic job.
Oh, our staff?
Yes.
Yes, we do have great staff in EHS. Right. It's amazing the work that they get done. I can't believe it. So let's make it easy if we can and try to make it a little bit easier anyway. So, okay. Anyone else have anything to say about this whole topic? We will move forward with it and communicate with the Friends. Obviously, I mean, they need to be part of this too. And I'm grateful for their participation today. So thank you all who have come. Yes, Mark.
I have one request. I don't know if this goes to Liz or Andy or both of them, but can someone prepare for our next meeting what the Friends of the COA spent money on in the past fiscal year, basically, and how much, if we can break it out so you get a better idea, right? Since it's not part of the budget presentation, right? You give to the town, and I've never seen how much the Friends spend and what they spend it on, so it would be good to know. And I don't know if that should come from Liz or Andy, but yeah.
Go ahead, Andy. Did you want to say something?
No, so that's fairly easy to put together. I could just go back on the monthly statements and see what we spent.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. When you get that, Andy, could you give it to Liz? Liz, would you be able to
we
take
can work
that?
through Liz. Yeah.
Is that okay, Liz? Okay. That would be great, Andy.
Okay.
All right. Can we move on then? If we're done, move on to the reports, the director's report and the outreach coordinator's report.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to be doing both.
I know, see, we take too much time and poor Amy always has to leave.
I'm just going to share my screen real quick and
Maybe we should put her on the agenda earlier. Maybe we should change our order of business here.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, no, maybe we should.
Okay, can everyone see the FY22 annual stats?
Yep.
Okay. Holding steady, some things are creeping up, like our event sign-ins, our over 60 outreach, our transportation, our under 60 outreach did take a slight dip, but nothing too substantial. And Nicole, part of your packet was Nicole's comprehensive statistics. So I'll bring, let's see, bring that up in case you haven't seen it yet. Actually, I can't pull it up right now, so I'll go into my other things. Okay, so Amy has been working really hard on making herself more accessible to the community, if that's ever possible, because she is so out there. But she has started doing office hours at Pine Tree Park and Village Green on Boxwood Drive, Mill Pond on Mill Pond Road, and she set up a schedule that she's over there at each site quarterly in an effort to be more accessible to people who might need her assistance. So she started doing that already. Fuel assistance.
Could you say how often she's there again? Sorry.
Let's see. Schedules have been set up to occur quarterly.
Okay.
At each of these individuals. And I think she was over at Boxwood this month. So next she's probably at Mill Pond.
Thank you.
Let's see. She has a note about fuel assistance applications for this heating season, which is November to April. This April coming up. They must be submitted by April 30th. If you've received a notice of ineligibility for insufficient supporting documents, you must submit them by April 30th, as well as in order to receive any benefits for this season. So if you have one of those letters, call Amy. She can help you find documentation, scan it, do whatever you need to do to get your fuel assistance in order. We've also been collaborating with Parks and Recreation for the OOCH experience that I talked about last month. The first 2 shows in the 7-show series have taken place. They had a great turnout. I think there was over 50 people for at least the first one, and same for the second. Kids and parents are thoroughly enjoying themselves, and the next one is March 21st. So if you have any questions, you can give Amy a call. You can call Alicia or Tim down in Park and Rec, or you can call Beth in the school department. These are great shows. And next on my list.
Complete. 21 complete.
What's up? Okay. We have a new van driver, Sam Palmer. He's returning to us after a hiatus during COVID. Just got his paperwork back today, all good to go, and he's hopefully going to start training with MART ASAP, which is wheelchair securement, CPR, defensive driving, all of the MART required trainings to be able to be a driver with us. So we are super excited to have Sam back. He was a fantastic driver, and he will fill in the Tuesday, Thursday, so we will be able to offer 5-day van service again, which we haven't done since pre-pandemic. So we're extremely excited about that. The other thing we have going is we are working on more partnerships with Parks Rec and Community Education, where in April we are planning to do again, a grandparents' Easter Bunny breakfast. They have their big egg hunt over at Fay Park, and hopefully on April 16th, we'll be able to offer a breakfast down here in the senior diner and multi-purpose room or over at the school, depending on how large the turnout might be. But to be able to offer that to our senior grandparents and community members to be able to have breakfast before going over to the big egg hunt. We also have senior tax workers helping on the project of stuffing the 6,000 eggs that they use for the egg hunt. So that's a really fun project that we're going to get started, and I ensured that they will be ordering extra candy to make the process of stuffing the eggs go a little smoother. Another project we have working with them is a potential spring fling that we've been calling it the spring fling, where we're going to be doing an early dinner, band and dancing, and we're hopefully doing it over at the school and cafeteria, so there's more room, better lighting, and Parks and Rec will be able to assist us with things like the lighting and the catering and things like that. So we're really excited to be partnering with them on several different projects. Last thing on my list is that I received an email from someone on the Master Plan Implementation Committee who is following up on how much progress has been made on each of the action items in that master plan since it was developed in 2017. So I was going through, and one of the major ones that applied to us was to provide additional resources to EHS-COA to expand our services. So I went back through our financials, and just looking at from 2017 to this current fiscal year, the operating budget from the town has increased just about 30%. So I thought that was pretty indicative that the town is supporting what we do and making it a little easier for us to broaden our reach. We've been able to hire 2 new staff members since 2017. We now have an assistant director, and we have an administrative assistant, Sue Raymond. So we have 2 new positions. We have we have more resources in general than we did in 2017. There's some things that we still don't have yet, like the senior center, but we are making progress towards that. And it was exciting to see that we haven't just been stagnant for all of these years. We've actually crept closer towards these goals. So I just wanted to share that. And that was last on my list. Any questions?
Great.
Thank you,
Things are,
Liz.
yes, things are still hopping. See, all kinds of good things. So,
oh, one more thing to add. And at the
yes.
Last budget meeting, I requested an additional outreach worker. So if that does get approved coming up, then we'll have made even more progress in expanding our reach to the community. So that will be really exciting to be able to say we've added 3 more staff members.
Right. Yes, Mark.
That was approved by the Finance Committee and the Select Board at their meeting. So if it stays in the final budget, you're all set. Well, it has to go before town meeting, but it's in the budget as of their meeting last week.
Hooray!
That's good news. Thank you.
That's great news.
Yes,
It stayed in.
we love to have good news like that.
Yeah. Oh, Amy will be thrilled to have some help.
Well, yeah, we just have to get through town meeting then. That's great. And it should be, then it would be on the warrant, right, Mark? You're saying it was approved?
Yes, it was approved by the Select Board and the Finance Committee. So unless things change, it's basically part of, Article 4 at town meeting for the budget approval. So.
Woohoo. Yay.
Let us go.
All right. Yeah, I know. Nice. That's a nice way to end this meeting. Thank you, Mark. So kind of. We're almost to the end. So are there any other questions for Liz? Or Amy, even though she's not here.
No, general question. How long are we gonna keep doing Zoom meetings before we can resume in-person meetings?
Well, that's a good question. I do not know, David.
Because,
Are you back at work?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Okay.
Yes, I am. Yeah. And I see that, that I attended a Board of Selectmen meeting a while ago. So they're meeting. So I just wonder why we aren't.
Well, we had agreed to go through March anyway, I think, and that's then I've heard that they've extended the Zoom meetings, and I don't what's the preference of the board? I know Lorelei has problems with childcare, right, Lorelei? So
Yes.
yeah, but we could have maybe we could do it both. I mean, I don't know. Do you know, Liz, if that's something that might be possible, or do we have to talk to LCTV about whether we could do it in person and, virtual? Lorelei could participate virtually.
I want to say it was extended till June for the hybrid meeting option, but I'll have to double check on that. But I can get that information and send it to you to send to the board.
Okay.
I believe it's July, but yes.
Yeah.
So So we'll explore that option, and then if it's possible, I can send you an email out and we can, figure out what we want to do. You know,
Hybrid is possible, but talk to Judy or Kirby.
okay, thank you, Amber. So, am I to take it that you would like to get back in person, David?
Well, yeah, eventually,
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know if anybody else, I don't know if anybody else is experiencing problems, but, my screen is freezing up every once in a while. Sometimes, a person's face and voice freeze, or sometimes just the face.
Oh.
I'm not getting 100% of what here would be 95. It's pretty close. But there was a point where Liz was talking and a point where Mark were talking, and you as well, where on my computer, it just stopped.
Oh, okay.
And froze. So, I can't say that I'm a big fan of Zoom.
Okay, got it.
So
Thank
whenever
you.
it changes, I'll be happy with that.
All right. All right, we'll look into that and I'll send you a message and we can figure that out. Okay? We need to go back and we need to have a vote, a motion to accept the director's report and the outreach coordinator's report. Please.
I'll
So
move that we
moved
accept the
for both.
outreach and the director's reports.
Okay, Marilyn. Marilyn, and who's seconding that?
I think it was David.
David, thank you. I couldn't tell.
Actually, I moved it, but I don't think anybody heard me.
Oh,
Oh.
so all right, David moved it. Marilyn, you want a second?
Yep, I'll second it.
All right, thank you. Okay, so roll call. Mark
Yes.
is a yes. David,
Yes.
Ann Lee,
Yes.
Anita. Is she there,
Muted.
Anita? You're muted.
Sorry.
Okay. Susan
Yes.
and Lorelei,
Yes.
thank you. Marilyn
Yes.
and Marge is a yes. Unanimous vote again. Thank you all. Okay. So, thank you. I think we've actually accomplished quite a bit today, and maybe we can, make things a little bit more efficient and easier for both groups, both the COA and so I'm encouraged, and I think we can work out something that will be a lot easier and efficient, more efficient. Do we have any other people out there, Liz, that would like to speak that you're aware of?
No hands
Public
raised.
input? No public input? Additional public input? Okay. If not, is there any other business that may come before the board that I've overlooked or wasn't aware of? No? It's your last chance to speak, guys, today. So, if not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn 7 minutes early. That's good. Amber's gonna be happy with us.
So moved.
So moved. Was that Ann Lee?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And who's going to second that?
I'll second it.
Marion, thank you. We have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Okay, last vote. Mark?
Yes.
Yes. David?
Yes.
Ann Lee?
Yes.
Anita? She muted herself again. She did.
Yes.
Yes. Susan?
Yes.
Lorelei?
Yes.
Thank you. And Marilyn?
Yes.
And Marge is